Hello there and welcome to my YouTube channel, Julia McNeil Crafts. So today we are going to build Hattie's Tea Party. So this is the MDF kit that I've created to go with the Curious Wonders collection, and this image here that is on the packaging, that is what we are going to create today, so give you an idea of how to use your kit if you have bought it. So please do feel free to grab a cuppa, join me in my craft room, and we'll get on with making this. I'm going to start by priming my project because I like to do that, but I just want to point out that Samantha, because she's the one that made these for me, has done that. That is so snug. So you don't need glue. It fits in really, really snugly and securely. Okay. So that being said, if you get lots of gunk in those holes, you're going to have difficulty putting it together. So do sort of bear that in mind whilst you're priming it. Now unfortunately all my black gessos I seem to have run short of, and they're a little bit thick. I'm going to maybe just try that with a smaller brush, see if that makes life a bit easier for me. So I'm going to put plenty on these bits. I'm going with black. I probably should have a sheet underneath me. As I said, really please really lightly by your notches and things. Don't get any paint or stuff in them because you will struggle. I mean, it's not impossible. You might just need to sort of like sand it down a bit or sort of knock the paint out, but just if you're aware of that before you kind of find yourself in that position, that is quite useful. So basically all I am going to do now is prime all of these pieces. So I will pop you on fast forward as I continue to do that. Okay, so I have kind of covered this in paint and I really don't like the way it's turned out, so I am now going to go for using paper instead. So I am just going to, this is the Phil Martin glue. I'm not sure if it's designed for working on MDF, but I'm going to give it a try. So I'm just going to pop some glue around on this, like so. Making sure that I've got plenty on, and then I am going to grab this sheet here with the houses on and just cover that over. Let's see now, I'm wanting the houses as far, so I've got as much of the house as possible. Okay, and I'm just going to stick that down like so. Okay, I'm going to flip it over and just roughly cut round this so that I've got a smaller area. I've got a smaller area to work with. I think I've left my preferred scissors downstairs, but that's okay. So I'm just doing this so that I've got an easier amount to work with, and I really need to sort of let that stick. I'm actually going to be losing some of this, so I'm just going to, because I want the top of the hat slightly different, you know, just to be awkward. So now that I've done that, I'm going to really just press that down, and then I am going to get a craft knife and just go around the edges with my craft knife so that we get a nice smooth edge to that. But I'll maybe just pop you on fast forward while I do that. Okay, so that's me cut round it. To be honest, I think I need to change the blade in my knife. It wasn't overly sharp, so I think I made it look a tad more difficult than it needed to be. Now, what I'm going to do just to make sure that it fits perfectly to the MDF, and I don't mind that we've got a few rough edges, but we've barely started. We're going to be building this. We're going to be building this up quite a lot, so that's okay. Don't worry about it if things don't go absolutely perfect, because we'll get there. Embrace imperfection. Okay, so what I'm doing is just sanding around the edges there to get that really nice and flush and smooth. And like here, it's not quite gone, but that's okay because, you know, we'll just have a bit of a distressed feel, and I'm planning on inking around the edges as well. To help to give the more of a 3D feel. So I'll just finish sanding that, and then I'll be back when we do some inking. Okay, so these elements here, when I go to fit the actual table in, it is quite a snug fit. So I've just folded up a tiny bit of the sandpaper, and I'm actually just making sure that those little bits there get a good sanding too, so that when we come to attaching the table we don't have too much difficulty. And again, if that ends up a bit rough around the edges because you've had to sand it, it's okay, because there's going to be a table stuck in there, so you're not going to see that at all. But it's just it is designed to just fit. You don't have to, thanks to the lovely Sam. I sent her the drawing with the concept, but I had no idea how to turn it into... I'm not very good with measuring, as you might know, so she worked all that bit out for me. So yeah, I'm just taking the excess paper off those particular areas, and I just thought I'd show that, because when we come to build it, if you've bought this, if you have, thank you very much, enjoy playing with it, you may need to know that's what I'm saying, just giving those bits there a good, getting all that fluff away so that we can slot our table in when we get to that stage. Okay, so I think we're good to go with that particular stage now, so I am going to just get some inks out, I think. Okay, so I have got my broken china oxide, and I'm just going to bring this in round the edges here, because you still need shades and tones for things to look, it'll help it to look 3D and more real. It also just edges it a little bit as well. So I'm just going to bring that in, and especially like here where I've got a little bit of torn paper, that's all going to disguise that nicely. I'm just making sure, I'm just like rubbing it down the edges, but if there's bits that I think look a bit dodgy, I'm just making sure that I blend those properly. So we'll just get in it and do all of that like so. I don't need to worry about the bottom because that's all going to be fit into the base, so we just want the sides nicely inked up there. And I will do the same, not quite as much because obviously this is black and white. I don't really want to lose that too much, although I have just there now, never mind. I suppose it'll make it tie into the base, and I'm just going to put a bit along the edge there as well. Okay, so that is the base of my hat done. So I'm thinking for the top of the table, it'd be quite nice for it to sort of have a tablecloth, and I quite like the idea of a checkered tablecloth and it's sort of blending into what we have there. So I'll just cut that down a little bit, try and preserve those houses a wee bit just in case I can use them. Let's hope I've not cut off too much now. Shouldn't be too bad because I don't need to go for it all to go to the back, so that's fine. So I'm just going to go through the same process again. I'm going to glue it down, cut it out and give it a little sand. So it's time to assemble this together. We'll need to see how we get on because obviously I have been using mediums and things, so we may have a little bit of difficulty getting things into their slots. I have discovered putting the table leg in first is one of the best ways of doing it. Okay. So as I said, the other alternative is to build it first. There we go. and then you won't have those. So that pushes in. It's really tight, but that's good because it means your project is not going to fall apart. Then I found that if you put the back of the hat in, okay, so you need to push that in and then push the table leg into that. This is really hard to get a camera angle that works. So basically, I'm going to have to do it upright for me to be able to get the pressure right, but we're going to put that in there, okay, and then slot that in like so. Okay, so that's that done. Okay, so I have now assembled that all together. I have to be honest, I did have to just sort of sand some of the edges to be able to get that in. So please be aware, if you are wanting to do this and you do decide to cover it in paint or paper, you may just need to sand back the edges. But that's just testimony as to how well it is built. And I've also just popped a bit of glue at the top of the table because I cut that hole a bit wider. It's kind of wrecked my table a little bit, but we will patch that up with something, so everything will be okay. Maybe we could do a table runner with ribbon or something like that. Right, so the idea with this is to create a tea party. So we have other elements that we can bring in. Okay, so that's everything fitted together. That's the basic shape done, and now we get to play. So I've pulled in the other shapes of MDF and I've pulled out some of the stamps. So the stamps from the journaling set, they are about waist high to the table, so they're quite good characters to have. So I'm actually thinking that I could maybe have a small Alice because she could have been shrunk because she ate too much of the little mushroom or something. So yeah, I've got some characters here, and then we could have Cheshire, or Chester as he is in my world, up there somewhere. And then I've just got some little flowers. Oops. Again, I've got these sort of flowers that are from the journaling collection of stamps. So I've got these that I can add. I've also got some flamingos. So yeah, I'm not completely sure what we're doing. We've also got, I'm thinking I might put the stand in. I was wanting the mushroom, but I just don't know if it's going to fit on. Mind you, it might extend a little bit, so we've got more room for the tea party. It's very difficult to film this because I need to lie it flat so that you can see it. But it's leaving me struggling somewhat. Oh, could maybe have something like that. And then we've also got our teapot and teacup that sit on the stand there. And we have some bigger shapes and things like so. So yeah, I think what I might do is paint up this frame and the mushroom, and we will see how we go on. Okay, so I have pulled out my Delusions paint. I've also primed the MDF I want to paint with white because I personally find that because everything else about this project is really bright and vibrant, that I want these MDF pieces to be bright and vibrant too. And I find if you add white first that you will get a truer colour because you're working on a white base. Whereas although the MDF will take the paint beautifully without it being primed, you will obviously get the brown tone showing through. So as I said, basic colour theory, if you're working on a white canvas, then you'll get a brighter, truer colour. So I'm just going to, I actually want these mushrooms to be more red, but I'm going to add that in a minute because I want to blend it a little bit, because I still want to have shades and tones so that it looks more realistic. So I'm just going to paint that in. And now I am going to blend a little bit of the red in. So trouble is, I don't want to let my paintbrush get too wet, sorry about that. So I'm just going to grab that red there and I'm literally sort of just smooshing it into the pink, and we're getting some lovely colour tones. So put that on quite thick there, and then as I said, we'll just sort of blend it and smoosh it across so that we've got a nice smooth transition, and then it just looks so much better because it's not one solid colour. Now these bits have dried a little bit, but that's okay, because all we can do is just come in with a bit more pink. Okay, and again sort of smoosh that together. That's a nice technical term for you. Now I like to create my greens by using teal and yellow together. That's what I'm going to do. I am going to just put a teal base down on these leaves here. Just realised I've got another red. I don't know what these things are about. These things are, I don't know what it is. Every time I draw a girl or a bird or anything, they seem to have these little prongy things with circles at the end coming out of them. Don't ask me why. It's kind of become part of my style now. But if I draw anything and it doesn't have it, then I feel like it's missing. So I've added them into this, and then I've also got prongy things on their own so that you can, you know, make your own swirly bits if you want. I'm just going to add that all into there. Oh, it's amazing how different this looks once you just get a bit of colour on it. So I'm going to get the green into there, the teal, and as I said, I like to create my greens by mixing teal and yellow together. So I'm going to grab a bit of yellow now, and this should just blend in so that we'll end up with some nice teal colours. We'll end up with some nice sort of lime green because we've got a really vibrant yellow there, and we've got so we'll get the highlight will be the bright yellow, then we'll have the mid-tone which will be the lime green where it's mixed, and then we will have the shadow which will be the teal. So I just find I get a more natural look doing it that way than if I'd maybe just gone straight in with the green. So that's me just doing that, and I'm deliberately doing big strokes because we're wanting to mimic the grass, obviously, to make it look more natural, like so. Okay, let's just do the same on these stocky bits. So I won't paint everything on camera. What I will do is I'll finish this mushroom with you, and then I will pop myself on fast forward while we look at the rest of the while I paint the rest of the MDF, and then when we're all dry and sorted, then we will see what works well together and assemble those bits and pieces. Oh, I love this coloured up, it's so nice. Right, so I'm going to go for orange. I know it's probably be a more neutral tone. I could maybe get some gesso in there to blend it. We'll see. We'll see how we go. Get some orange in there, and then I'm thinking if we tone that down with a bit of yellow. Tone it down a lot with a bit of yellow. And then it also probably will sort of get some distress inks or some pastels or something just to blend round the edges there. Okay, let's go for a nice bright yellow in the centre of this flower here. And again, I'm just going to add a tiny bit of the orange just so that we've got shades and tones going on. I don't want it looking like the stock, so this time we've got, see, this was orange and yellow, and that's orange and yellow, and yet they look different colours, and that's because we put the orange down as a base and added yellow as highlight, whereas this one we put mostly yellow down and just a tiny tint of orange. So you can still get plenty of variety working with the same colours. So I'm going to put the pink down for this flower. Oh, I love it. I thought I loved this mushroom, I really did. And now just seeing it painted up, it looks so good. Yeah, it's like I'm looking at it going, I can't believe I've designed this. That's madness. This is something I'd have bought from the shop. And gone, that's awesome. I honestly really can't believe I'm doing this. It's mental. It's weird. Like when they use the word designer and different things, I'm like, oh, that's me. That's very strange. Right, so this time I am going to add some orange into that pink, just purely that I don't want it looking too much like the toadstool. And we went with red in that, so I'm just going to add a touch of orange in that to add that bit of variety of tone. So that is my mushroom all painted up. I am now going to just pop you on fast forward while I do the rest. Okay, so that's these pieces of MDF dry. I've already started building up the colour a little bit. I want to build that up a little bit more. So I'm just going to grab my Distress inks. I've gone for a neutral walnut stain colour, and I'm just literally going to go round the edges of the mushroom here. I might actually get one of my, I've got little diddy brushes of this that I've never used, but it might be quite good for getting in the gaps there. So I'm just literally sort of going around the edges and adding a little bit more shading, because as I said, it's the shading that makes a difference. It stops it from looking like a flat piece into more 3D. And I think MDF is such a beautiful product, and it is 3D naturally in its own right, that maybe we don't do the same sort of tips and tricks, but this can really just bring it to life. So I'm sticking, that's where I've put the lighter area of paint, and this is where I've put the darker area of paint, so I'm sticking to that side for that darker area. And then I'm going to do the same. I'm going to need to switch between brushes on this project. Okay, so I'm just going to again just add a little bit of the Distress ink to the edges of this. Okay, like so. And I am going to just pause the video because I've got another idea. Okay, so what I've done is I've just grabbed a piece of paper clay, and I'm thinking that if we just get a little bit and push it through, get that a bit smoother. Right, I'm going to work this so there's no cracks in it the same. That what I'm going to do is just push this through and stick it to the back. Now this, I shouldn't need to glue this, it should just sort of dry off its own thing. And then what I'm thinking is, you know, like these fantasy mushrooms that have these sort of like bulbous dots sticking on the back, coming out of them, that's what this is going to look like. In my head that works. So I'm just squishing it down so it's in a bit more of a pleasant shape, and secure that on the back there. Okay, and we'll do the same for the other two. I'm quite liking this. I might try and demo this on Hajanda. Okay, so we'll pop that through. And then I'm just pulling the excess off and securing it down. See, now that looks a bit ugly, but because it's paper clay it's mouldable, so I'll just keep squishing it till I've got a shape I'm a bit more happy with. Okay, and then I'll do the last one. And then I will let that dry. While I am letting that dry, I am going to go around all the edges of my MDF I have already painted with the walnut stain and black soot ink pads, depending on how dark the shading needs to be. And I will come back to you when we have all these elements ready to go, and we can put them together on the hat. Okay, so I'm still waiting on the paper clay to dry on the main mushroom, but what I'm also going to do, I've darkened all the shadow areas up, and then if you just on the shadow areas draw a little white line, that'll help make it pop, because we're really going to see that contrast between light and dark. But don't worry about it overly. I just find even just drawing a few white lines around anything, and you'll see I do this with my stamps as well. If I've pull out a stamp that I've coloured just here, oops, so you can see I've added little white lines as I colour. So it's a really great way of adding little highlights to your work. Look at how thin those teapot things are, the handles. That's so cute. Sam's amazing. She cuts MDF so beautifully. Okay, so I am going to carry on, and that's obviously still a bit wet because my pen's just struggling with that slightly, so I maybe just need to wait for that particular piece to dry. Once it's dry, this pen goes over it absolutely fine. It's a Signal Uniball pigment ink, and I'm just going to add little details to all the MDF. Okay, so I'm going to stamp some little details onto the teapots and teacups. I got this idea from Arteza, because on one of her samples she has stamped the little, what do you call it, like the little card icon things onto the teapots and teacups, and I thought that was so cute. So I'm just going to add it to the teacups, and then what I might do is grab some of my pens. I've got my Arteza gel pens actually, they would go pretty good on that, so I might just go and grab those and we can colour those in. It's probably going to be a long video, so it might be one of those that we just need to, you know, grab a wee cuppa. Or if you have bought the kit, you can craft along with me. Or if not, you can just enjoy me in my mad, crazy world in Wonderland. Okay, so I got these Arteza gel pens, and they come in an amazing variety of colours. And I've managed to get them to work on quite a lot of surfaces. See, yep, these are just going onto the MDF absolutely beautifully. So I have signed up for the affiliate marketing with Arteza. Also because they know that I am going to be on Hochanda with this collection. Oh, it's because I've ran down to the out of breath. It's because I've ran downstairs now, because I craft in the loft, so I have ran downstairs to get my pens, and now I'm out of breath. Yeah, anyway, so I told the lovely people at Arteza that I was going to be on Hochanda with my product, and I said that I genuinely love their products. Their gouache is just to die for. Absolutely adore it. And so I asked that whether I could have a discount code to celebrate the fact that I was going to be on Hochanda, and they said yes. So it doesn't cost you anything if you shop through my affiliate link. It doesn't cost you anything at all, but it will, it just gives me a little bit of extra pocket money. So, because I get a tiny, teeny tiny, and it really is very tiny. I've not earned anything yet. Commission. So that's very tiny. But I managed to get a discount for you, which is awesome. I'm trying to choose what colour I'm going to do the rest of these. And I'm trying to work out what will contrast nicely. Yeah, so if you want to check the link below, so there is a link for both Europe and America, US of A. So if you want to check the link below, you will be able to grab yourself a wee discount on some gorgeous goodies. As I said, highly recommend the gouache, and I do love these pens. I have been using them quite a bit. I've been using them to add details to my stamps, because my stamps are actually really quite detailed, especially if you get the scene building ones. So there's just tiny little elements to try and colour, and although I love my alcohol markers, sometimes it's hard to get right into those details, whereas these pens have been just perfect. So I've actually been doing a sort of hybrid colouring thing, that I've been colouring with my markers and then adding detail with these fabulous pens. So I'm just going to finish doing this off camera, because I think I've said everything I need to say about the pens and the links, and I'll be back for the next stage. Okay, so that is dry now, and I've added the white doodling like I would everywhere, but I also just want to give a little bit of shading to these little bulbous parts, because you know it's me. It's me, and I know I'm obsessed with shading, so I'm just putting a little bit of the pink round the side, and I'm kind of doing it the same side on every there, just to give it a bit of colour. And again, it just helps it to look a bit more 3D. So that is my little mushroom there. Okay, now let's pull all the parts together and work out how we're going to put it together. So bright and colourful, I love it. Right, so I am thinking I am just going to pop this mushroom behind there and glue that down, and then I'm thinking that I will have this over here, and then we will pop the ladies down. So I'm just going to plug my glue gun in. I'm not quite sure how much of this I'm going to manage to keep doing on camera, because it's a really awkward angle, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so I've decided not to tuck that behind, but tuck in front, so we can actually see the mushroom. So I am putting glue on this bit here. I'm just using hot glue. To be honest, I should really be doing this with gel medium. I would recommend that if you're doing it, that you do it with gel medium. That's my phone going. But again, I'm short on time because I need to take photographs of this to design my packaging, and all the goods need to go to Chanda, and I need to get them posted off tomorrow. So I need to have this made and done. Right, so I'm just going to pop a bit of glue on the bottom of this and hope that that will be enough to stand it there. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. I've just also suddenly realised that I've not coloured up the little teapot and teacup that fit in there, so I will probably just have to do that in a bit. Right, I am going to put some 3D foam and things on these characters so that I can get them looking a little bit more built up. So I'm just going to do that off camera. Okay, I'm just going to start sticking down. I'm not completely sure how this is all going to work, but we will have a play and find out. So I think I'm just going to put Hattie here, and then I'm not quite sure where the others are going to go yet. Okay. It's like, I kind of want Harriet in there, but I don't want to lose my mushroom. Decisions. Okay. Oh, actually, Alice could maybe be... Try and put Alice at the front of the table. Right, as I said, I wasn't quite sure how this is going to work, trying to glue everything down whilst on camera. We will have to see. At least if I can show part of the assemblage of it, that would be good. Right, let's get Alice in front of the table. Okay, oops. Just trying to find things for them to stick to as well, that's the other difficulty that I've got. Right. I'm going to have to put a bit, sorry, I'm just going to have to put this up because I'm going to have to stick her feet in glue. Okay. She looks a bit drunk, she just had too much tea. Too much Prosecco in that tea she was having. Oh dear. We can always cover glue with embellishments, so we don't need to worry too much about that. Right, that's her feet stuck down now. Okay. I'm thinking that we need Cheshire somewhere. Okay, looks quite good up there, so I'm just going to go with that for the moment. And then let's work out where Harriet's going to be, and then we can play with the rest of the embellishments. And also I've got little flowers and things that have been cut out, and it's going to be interesting trying to take this down to Hachanda without breaking it. What do we think? I definitely want her in it because, you know, they all need to be at the party. She's just going to have to go there because I can't find anywhere else for her. It's layers. It's a bit like mixed media. You know, sometimes something that you do gets hidden, but it's still there. You can still see the cool mushroom peeking through. So it's all good. Right, I'll try and put her down there. Okay. Right, so now we need to look at creating other little features. So I'm wondering whether to have sort of, you know, like the stacked teacup thing going on. Like so. How am I going to do that? Like that maybe. And then have the teapot down here. Oh, I am faffing. I am faffing. Right, I'm going to go for the teacups because I think that looks quite good, and then it's maybe going to give Hattie something for her head to sit on as well. So just need to make sure I get these at in the right place and the right angle. Oops. And you get loads of teacups in the set. I think you get 6, and that was partly because I knew that when I got them I would want to stack them like this. So you've got 6 teacups, and 2 teapots and 6 teacups. Okay, in your MDF kit. Okay, so that is it all finished. I don't think I understand the concept, less is more. Because I've gone a bit OTT. But yeah, So that is it. That is my Mad Hatter's tea party. If anything, it definitely looks mad. So, but I'm really pleased with it. So, please do check the description box below of details about the kit, also for the Arteza links, and to check out the rest of the inspiration from my design team. So I hope you have enjoyed it here. There's going to be lots more inspiration regarding this kit to come, so please do consider liking and subscribing, and I will be back with you again very soon. Okay, take care then, and goodbye.